We now move on to creating an assignment, posting an assignment with an attachment, and viewing student submissions through an assignment. So first, we're going to go to one of our folders. This time I'm going to choose week 4. And the first thing I see is I'm going to click the drop arrow to see the action. And I can see this plus green dotted arrow that I can click in that folder, add an assignment. The other way to add materials is all the way at the top of the page. We're going to go to add materials and then select an assignment. By doing it this way, we have to move it into the appropriate folder. So here I'm going to say sample class. The next thing that we're going to look at when we're creating an assignment is, again, here is our rich text editor. So we can make bold, indent. You can stylize this component how you want. Please download the assignment and submit via Schoology. So we have this instruction that we want. If you would like to insert further content, maybe you want to put a video or an image, by clicking this arrow right next to our link button. So if we wanted to make a link, you can type a link in there. If you wanted to insert content, these are the standard options that you're given. So if you have a math equation or a science equation you want to type in or use symbols, likewise insert images, which allows you to upload via the web or from your own device. Attach video, that will be placed in the description box. There's always multiple ways to do things. Again, the next option is create a table, check your spell check. These two options allow you to change the formatting. If you are including something from a different website, maybe you want to use an embedded code, you want to pull something from YouTube, this toggle right here allows you to switch to the HTML view. If you're taking an embedded link from, let's say, a Quizlet page. So here, for an example, if I'm pulling up a Quizlet and I want to do the Chapter 4 vocabulary, what I really want is the embed code. Many websites have this. I can select, in this case, what Quizlet has. I want to do a test. And I'm going to just select this HTML. And now I can switch back to my sample class and I can paste that HTML, which you see as an iframe in here. And now if I hit these 3 dots to switch back to the visual, once I hit the 3 dots, now I see this yellow container that has what the Quizlet assignment is. Again, this is all extra, but you're able to do this in this rich text editing field. Likewise, I have an additional application that we'll go over that has Google Drive assignments, which I can link to. More about that in a later video. Here is our important part where we're going to add a due date. In this case, I'm going to say August 24th, so my birthday, and then how many points this was. We're just going to make this assignment 1 point. Now we've set up our grading categories already, so I'm going to say that this is a project. We have our grading period. It's going to land on the default of what your course is set at. Our factor, if we want to have this more weighted or less weighted, we can. Then what scale we're using. So here most of our assignments that I would suggest keep a numeric scale, but some of us, if we just want to grade in terms of A plus, A minus, however, you can do that, as well as create any rubrics right from an assignment. There will be another video that go over how to use rubrics. I think they're very helpful. Right now, we're going to leave this a numeric value. Other objects that you can do. If there are learning objectives, you can click this. This goes to our resources page. Currently, you have Schoology preloaded learning objectives that have Common Core, Next Gen Science Standards, Reading Standards, etc. More importantly, you can add your own customized learning objectives. So our school currently doesn't have any, but if you want to have, let's say, claim evidence reason, or this will now track your students' abilities and say that this assignment was on those standards. Likewise, under options, we can individually assign, as we saw previously. We can lock an assignment. So this is especially important for teachers that want to disable student submissions. The next option, which if you click on any of these, it is highlighted. Unclick it, it is now unhighlighted. So the next option is submissions disabled or submissions enabled. Publish to students, which is they can now access it. If you want to track grade statistics, you click this to enable. The next option is comments enabled or not. The last option is if you're creating an assignment and you don't have linked courses, maybe you want this to go to all of your classes. You can click this, copy, and it will take you to what other classes would you like this to go to. And you can give the exact same location, date, category, and scale to those classes. Last thing, if we go back to the rich text editor, as there's multiple ways of doing everything. We have all of our options at the top. We also have the same features that are available in most of the other applications on Schoology. So you can add a file. And this is the most important one that many of us are going to use. And I will show you how to use this both on the browser application, which I highly recommend people use, or also on what creating an assignment looks like on the iPad. So if we are going to take a PDF, again, a format that we would like to see used, we will see what the resource that we've attached is. It's also important that if you want to change the name of the file that you create on your desktop or your computer or your laptop, and you want it to match what your sample course is, maybe I just want to call this, let's say, sample course assignment 1. And then once I do that, just by clicking this edit details, now what the students will see is sample course assignment 1 instead of seeing the stats resource handout types of stats.pdf. That would cause confusion on how they would submit this. So once we are done, we have our naming convention, we have our rich text editor, we have attached a document, we have set up the due date, the category, the period, the standards that we're hitting, and enabled submissions. We're going to hit create. There are 2 ways now to see it. Since we added materials at the top, what we are going to need to do is move this. So there's a couple ways of moving this assignment into the appropriate folder. The easiest way is to drag into the folder and drop it. Or if I move this back out, we can see that if I click here into the gear icon, I can click move, and now I can select a destination. So we're going to go to the week 4 folder. And if I just hit move, now it's organized into that folder structure. Another way of seeing this, if you don't like the full display of folders, is now clicking into the folder. So I just clicked on the link below, and now I can see all of the materials in the folder. Likewise, I can I can highlight above and see I can add something above, or I can add something below this assignment. Quickly switching over to our iPad view, we get our same sample course signed in. If I click on the week 4 folder, I can now see that I have my assignment. If I wanted to create a new assignment, I'm going to go into the upper right-hand corner and hit the plus button. And now, again, I can see the multiple options that I get on my iPad. So we can have a post, add an assignment, add an event, discussion, add files, add a link, add media album. We're going to go to add an assignment. And in a similar way, we have our title. So we need to type our sample course. So now we've created our sample assignment number 2. We're going to select our due date. Again, we're going to say the same date that we said before. So this time it's August 25th, and we're going to say at 10 p.m. We're going to set our grading period to be the summer of 2020. Our category is this time going to be homework. We have our scale or rubric, which currently is not enabled. But if I wanted to on the iPad, I can select a previously created rubric, but I cannot make a new one from this screen. And then the maximum number of points. So let's say this homework assignment is worth 5. And now on the iPad, we can see that the description that we post is less detailed. We can't embed. We don't have the same option. So once we hit done, now we have text. We see that we have similar options at the bottom of the screen. We have the enable or disable submissions. We have hidden or visible to student. We have grade statistics enabled or disabled. And then the feature that I like to highlight to most people is to disable comments. And this is just so another thing that you don't have to monitor for your students is what they're going to potentially post to one assignment here or there. You will get a notification if someone comments on an assignment, but by default, I just choose to disable it. Likewise, if you have files that are on your iPad that you want to attach for your students to work on, you're going to have to hit the attach button. Again, less number of features than you can on your computer. So first is choose from library. This is from your photo library, is what it's talking about. The next option says take photo or video. This will go and open your camera application and ask you to start taking either a picture or a recording. The next option is attach from resources. This is your resources on your Schoology account. So you get access to your resources, shared resources, and your group resources or resource apps. So if you have apps that you've downloaded, either the YouTube, the Google Drive app, this allows you to get to those files somewhat easily. You can record audio, and then the last option, which many of us will use, is select from iOS apps. If you choose the select from iOS apps, you get these two options where it will start with this browse option, says your iCloud Drive, and the other option at the bottom, you said go to your recent files that you may have been working on your device or on your computer. If I go back to the browse, you'll see in the upper left-hand corner this locations tab. And if I pull out from the locations tab, now I can see all of the different things that I've linked to my iPad. So I can have access to anything that's in my iCloud Drive, what's specifically on my iPad. So any apps that have saved files, this might be your Pages or Keynotes or Notes or GarageBand's file locations. I can access anything that's on my Google Drive and then your Dropbox. This does not allow you to access something that's maybe in Notability. So if you wanted to post something from Notability, you would first have to open the Notability app, go to one of your documents that you've been working on. So in this case, this is a problem that I've been working on with my summer student. What I'd have to do in the upper left-hand corner, click on the Share button, and we can select from here, do we want to send it to Dropbox, Google Drive? For many of us, we're going to hit Other. I highly suggest you choose the PDF format. We want all pages. We're not including, you don't necessarily have to include the paper type. And then we're going to hit Share Note. And this is where it's going to ask you, where do you want to share this note? So on the top is recent contacts. You have your AirDrop and your messages. You have two options that I would say are good for anyone. You could say either save to files, or if you hit more, you should have access to something that says copy to Schoology. When you do this, it's going to copy to Schoology. It's going to ask you, where would you like to place this? You can either send it to a student, which is not what we want to do, or we can add to resources. And once we add this to our resources, now I can go back to that assignment. Now that I've uploaded it to my resources, I can see that my assignment, because I didn't hit save, didn't actually save. But I can go to that assignment that I created before. I can view the previous attachments. I can see the Quizlet that's embedded. And if I hit the three dots and hit edit, I can then go attach from resources, and then go to my resources, home, and then hopefully the one that I uploaded is one of the first options. Once you select that, you hit back, you hit the green check mark. Now you can see we have two attachments. Hit the green check mark. Your assignment has been updated. Again, I highly recommend that we stick with the browser. It will keep your life a lot more simplified. You can do many of these things on the iPad, either through the application or through your web browser itself. So on our iPads, if we go to divinechild.schoology.com, we will get to our dashboard and we can see all of the same things that we saw from our desktop view. I can now see my week 4 folder with our sample assignment. We have our standards that we have. If I hit the gear icon and hit edit, now I can see the two different documents that I've linked to this, plus the yellow, meaning I have the embedded HTML there. I have all of the same options that I had before. If you wanted to, let's try this one more time. If I wanted to add an attachment on my iPad through the browser, I can click the same icon that I did before, this first one. It says File. It's going to ask me, do I want to take a video? link from my photo library, or browse. And again, once I hit browse, this goes to my iCloud folder or my linked locations.